Surprise! Hi, I'm Bunny. Let me show you how I bake. When I started baking 20 years ago, I was at ground zero. I had no experience baking other than a few box cakes for birthdays. But what I want to do over the next 6 months is show you what I've learned over the last 20 years of baking, cooking, and entertaining at home. Now I've done most of my baking in a much smaller kitchen with an even smaller set of skills, so anything is possible. So let's get started. The first set of recipes I would like to show you are comfort foods, and I'll start with my most requested recipe by family and friends, the chocolate chip cookie. Now I've tried many different recipes, but the one I like best is from this book by Kathleen King, Tate's Bake Shop Cookbook. Here's the recipe. I usually only make half the recipe, so that's what I'll show you today, along with a few minor changes. The most important thing that I learned in baking is to weigh your ingredients for two reasons: precision and speed. Actually, two of my favorite things. Let me demonstrate. The way I've seen most people measure flour is using a measuring cup. They'll scoop and level. Now 1 cup of flour should weigh 125 grams, but if you weigh this cup of flour, it weighs 143 grams. And depending on how long your butter's been in the refrigerator, the water in the butter will evaporate. Once I measured 1 stick of butter, which should weigh 4 ounces, at 3.5 ounces. Now baking is based on precise ratios, so if you want to bake cookies and not hockey pucks, like I have many times, please weigh your ingredients. If you don't have access to a scale, what I would recommend is using a measuring cup. Spoon your flour into the cup. And level. And this weighs 124 grams. So I think this is the best method if you're not going to use a scale. Now let me show you how fast you can make a cookie when you weigh your ingredients. Using a stand mixer or a hand mixer, place the bowl on your scale. Hit the tare button to zero it out. Add 113 grams of unsalted butter. That's about 1 stick of butter at room temperature. Now room temperature, so vague. According to this book by Kate Zuckerman, The Sweet Life, room temperature should be between 66 and 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you want to beat it until you get the consistency of mayonnaise, which if your butter is at the right temperature, it shouldn't take very long. So beat on low to medium-low speed. Now, it's better to start with butter that's a little colder and beat it to the consistency you want versus starting one that's too warm. It's really hard to control the structure. Now that's about it. That's the texture you want. Now put the bowl back on the scale. You want 75 grams of granulated sugar. Hit the tare button to zero it out. 75 grams. And 75 grams of light brown sugar. Hit the tare button. If you want a chewier cookie, add up to 10 grams more of light brown sugar or use dark brown sugar. So you don't have to worry about lightly packed, tightly packed brown sugar, just weigh it. Spend your energy doing something more productive. Put that back in your stand mixer and mix on low to medium low. Now, using a rubber spatula, scrape the sides of your bowl. Make sure all the ingredients are well incorporated. And then mix again. Now you want to add 1 room temperature egg, which is about 5 to 10 minutes in a bowl of warm water. When you crack your egg, always crack into a separate bowl first. You don't want to ruin your whole batter in case you get a bad egg. On a flat surface, you don't want to use the sharp end of your bowl because you may get eggshells into your egg. Put it in your batter. Mix. You don't want to mix for more than 30 seconds because you don't want to incorporate too much air into a cookie batter. Cake batter is different, but less than 30 seconds. Now, scrape again. And you want to add a half teaspoon of pure vanilla extract and a half teaspoon of water. Now, I think this is the secret to her recipe for making a very crispy cookie because I think the water in the oven evaporates. So mix that. And that's it. Now for the dry ingredients, for cookie recipes you don't really need to sift. What I do is I use either a paper plate or parchment paper. You need 125 grams of all-purpose flour, preferably unbleached. You need a half teaspoon of kosher salt. It's a lot softer than table salt. If you're going to use table salt, I would use half that amount and another half teaspoon of baking soda. Now, according to this book by Kate Zuckerman, if you add a little extra baking soda to your cookie recipes, it helps it brown and also adds an extra punch of salt to your cookies. So always add a little extra baking soda. And now what I like to do is just sprinkle it onto the wet ingredients. That's it. my version of sifting. Now pulse your mixer because you don't want a cloud of flour all over you until it's pretty much combined, and then you can mix. And definitely scrape the sides and bottom of your bowl. Make sure all the ingredients are well incorporated. After you add the flour, don't mix very long. You don't want to develop the gluten in your batter. And you want to add 170 grams of your favorite semi-sweet chocolate chips. And don't mix for very long because you don't want to break up the chips. That's about it. And you want to finish mixing by hand. All the way to the bottom. And now you're ready to bake. Now scoop your cookies out using a kitchen scoop. I have the number 40. It's about 1.5 tablespoons of dough. You can scoop onto a parchment-lined half-sheet pan. About 8 cookies will fit on one parchment, because these cookies will spread. So just keep scooping. Now when you use a kitchen scoop like this and all the dough is about the same size, it will cook more evenly. A wire rack like this, or most times I just cool it on my kitchen counter. That's fine for cookies. And when you're ready to bake your second batch, either wait for your first pan to cool down or use the second pan. You do not want to put cookie dough on a hot pan. You're going to burn the bottoms. And because I really want you to succeed, I have presents. All of the products that have made the biggest difference in my baking, I'd love to share with you. The second most important thing that I learned in baking is to use the very best ingredients. And on top of that list is a high quality European style butter. Now Thomas Keller in his book Bouchon Bakery, gorgeous book by the way, recommends this brand, Plugra. It's 82% butter fat compared to most commercial butters, which are 80%. So that extra 2% will give you so much flavor and help the structure of anything you're baking. This is available in most grocery stores, but if you have a restaurant supply store like Surfas here in Los Angeles, you can get twice the amount of butter for about the same price, so a great value. This adorable little package is is the best flour I've used in my baking. It's from King Arthur Flour. It's their unbleached all-purpose flour, and it's also organic. This is a little darker than most semi-sweet chocolate chips that I've tried, but I've made this cookie for people of all ages and they all love it. And pure vanilla extract. Try not to use anything imitation in your bake. Now, kosher salt has a softer flavor than table salt, so it'll enhance all of the ingredients in your baking, but it won't taste salty. The third most important thing that I learned in baking is to use professional grade equipment. Now, that may sound intimidating, but it's just equipment that's designed to be more durable and oftentimes can even be less expensive than what you find in retail stores. So I have the number 40 kitchen scoop for one of you. This is NSF certified. Now, if you have the choice when looking for kitchen equipment, opt for NSF certified. They're certified for quality and hygiene, two very important factors in a kitchen. And the essential rubber spatula. This one is heat resistant to 500 degrees, so I also like to use it when making scrambled eggs. Now, you've got high quality ingredients, you've made a great batter, and then you use the wrong pan. Been there, burnt that many, many times. So the pan I would recommend is this half sheet pan. It's the 12 gauge pure aluminum from JB Prince. This is the best one I've ever used. The aluminum conducts heat really well, so you'll get a nice crisp bottom on your cookies. And I always line these pans with parchment paper. These are half sheet parchment sheets. You can fit right into the pan. Oh, I almost forgot. The most important thing is this kitchen scale. I like this brand because it's very easy to clean and it can accommodate up to 33 pounds. So my heavy glass mixing bowl with ingredients, it can accommodate very easily. It measures in grams and ounces, so very handy in the kitchen, especially when you're baking. Now, if you're interested in receiving any of these items, please leave a comment below and let me know what you would like or what you need, or you can subscribe or share this video. That would not make me unhappy, and I will pick the lucky recipients in the next episode. So good luck, everyone. The fifth secret to baking is to practice. Just like everything else in life, baking takes practice. I will try to make it as easy for you as I can, but you still need to beat it, bake it, and serve it. But if you can master this one cookie recipe, you will never be without friends. At least that's been my experience. Now, when you're gonna make your second batch of cookies, either cool down the first sheet pan or use the second one. You do not want to put cookie dough onto a hot sheet pan. The bottoms are gonna burn. Anything else? Did I get it all?
I mean, there's a natural joke there, like, and nobody likes a burned bottom. But
No.
I think it works.
Yeah. Don't you think?
Yep.
All right. What? Thank God you're not the writer.